And we begin tonight with the state of politics here in the state of New York after yesterday's election, and both sides sort of claiming a little bit of victory here in the Empire State. First of all, Democrats picking up a couple of key congressional seats here in the state, which may help Democrats at least stay in the game in terms of who controls the House of Representatives in Washington. But when you look at New York State as a whole, compared to 4 years ago, we did make a shift to the right in favor of Donald Trump. A couple of storylines here I want to go over. I checked every single county in the state of New York today, and with almost all of the vote in, Donald Trump had a higher percentage now than he did 4 years ago in every single county in the state. And that includes here in Western New York. Just like 4 years ago, all of our counties going for Donald Trump except Erie County. I want to show you the numbers here. Look at the margin. Kamala Harris, almost a double-digit win over Donald Trump. But look 4 years ago at the margin in 2020. Joe Biden about 15 points better than Donald Trump. So what do we make of that? And how will Donald Trump's election impact politics here in New York? Listen to what the governor said just a short time ago.
So I created the Empire State Freedom Initiative, focused on key areas that are most likely to face threats from the Trump administration. Again, reproductive rights, civil rights, immigration, gun safety, labor rights, LGBTQ rights, and our environmental justice. Our team will do whatever we have to do to identify any possible threats to these rights that we hold dear in the state of New York and protect New Yorkers. This will include legislation, rulemaking, appropriations, and partnerships with our congressional delegation and including the Biden administration at this time.
Governor Hochul and Attorney General Tish James also announcing that attorneys and senior officials in state government under Hochul will regularly meet with the AG's office to collaborate on efforts to try to push back on the incoming federal administration. Bob McCarthy, our 7 News political analyst, joins me live here tonight as we digest all of the results from yesterday. A lot to talk about, and I do want to begin there with, you sort of see this battle brewing now. It was called the Resistance 8 years ago, right? When Donald Trump first won. You see Kathy Hochul, Tish James, and other Democrats saying, we're going to fight this. What do you make of it?
It's not going to hurt these 2 Democrats in the slightest in ultra-democratic New York, Michael. Remember that in 2018, Tish James, the main thrust of her campaign for AG was, I'm going to fight Donald Trump. And she did. And she even sued him in civil court and won, and over the way he was conducting business in New York City. So this is something that is a political plus, I think, for these 2 women as they head New York State government. And this is what they consider to be their jobs and what they think will be pleasing to the people of New York State.
How do you size up the state of play in New York right now after yesterday's results? I mean, locally we had 1 Democratic Assembly member, Monica Wallace, lose to a Republican, but statewide, Democrats keep the supermajority in the Assembly, 1 seat away from a supermajority in the state Senate. And then add to that what I mentioned a moment ago, Democrats did pick up 2 congressional seats in the state. So Democrats will say those are good things. But when you look at the overall vote in New York, it certainly swung toward Donald Trump.
Well, think about this. Joe Biden beat Donald Trump by 23 points 4 years ago. Last night it was only 11. Now, the Republicans picked off an assembly seat right here in Cheektowaga and Lancaster. And, you know, they're never going to take over the assembly, but it was a significant victory for them to pick one off and show that they're competitive. But the Democrats really did come back, as you point out, especially recapturing those 2 congressional seats, one in the Hudson Valley and one in Long Island. And that was a catastrophe for them 2 years ago when they lost 5 seats across the state. That made the difference in giving the Republicans the majority in the House of Representatives. So this was important. It was important for the party to do this. It was important for the governor to do this. So many people say that that whole abortion rights or the pro-ERA amendment was something to bring out Democrats and help in those congressional seats.
One big change is that Chuck Schumer will no longer be majority leader of the U.S. Senate. Instead, well, we don't know who Republicans actually will pick. It will not be Mitch McConnell, right? How significant is that for us?
You know, I was thinking about this today, and I remember just 2 years ago covering a press conference that Chuck Schumer had on Main Street. And he wanted to show us that he had secured $25 million to reconstruct a very terrible shape Main Street and reconnect it to the east side. And he had all kinds of plans for that. The plans are in limbo, but they're going to happen eventually. The point is, that $25 million came because Chuck Schumer was the majority leader of the United States Senate.
Yeah.
And he had the power and the ability to obtain those funds. Same thing with all of the tech hub money across the thruway corridor that's going to manifest itself in Buffalo and in Syracuse and in Albany. So we will not have that influence anymore from the most powerful senator in the United States Senate. And that's a big loss for New York State.
Finally, Bob, I only have 30 seconds left, but one thing we know will not be happening. Governor Kathy Hochul and Erie County Executive Mark Poloncarz will not be taking jobs in a Kamala Harris administration.
You know, it's just one of that little bit of chit-chat that you hear in political circles about how they might. Certainly Mark Poloncarz was working hard for Kamala Harris in Pennsylvania, and Governor Hochul is not exactly banging them dead with the popularity polls right now. So whether she runs again or not is another question, and maybe those positions in Washington might have been available, and now they're not.
Definitely not, at least for 4 years, right?
Right.
Bob McCarthy, 7 News political analyst. Great to get your insight on this, Bob. Thank you.
Yes, sir.